the grants for our cash flow. We'll try to make grant claims timely to limit our interest costs as much as possible. So the downside with the grants is you have to spend them before you can claim them. And sometimes, depending on a claim to get approved, you might not see that reimbursement for a few weeks. So, and then we'll revisit our cash flow needs again next year and determine the best course of action going forward.
All right.
But like if we go with them, that's locked in for right now. That doesn't change if we, I mean, if the rate goes up tomorrow, we're good on that. I mean, that's
Correct.
staying there.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep. That'll be just for this fiscal year,
Right,
so
right.
until June 30.
Other questions? If not, look for a motion, please.
I'll move to approve the resolution authorizing a taxable tax and revenue anticipation promissory note for cash flow purposes in an amount not to exceed $5 million.
Second.
All right, then we have a motion and a second then to approve the resolution, and we'll need a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right, you're up again.
I am. I wear comfortable shoes. So as part of our 5-year facility plan, the board had approved obtaining a facility study for 3 of our schools. So we're looking at the middle school, Washington, and Wilson elementaries. So we issued an RFP for a facility study on June 28th. And then on July 13th, the district hosted it was a mandatory walkthrough of the 3 facilities that were included in part of the facility study. So we started at Washington and then headed to the middle school and then finished up at Wilson. So then the deadline to submit a proposal was July 28th, and we received 8 proposals from very qualified companies, ranging from $4,600 to $48,000 in price. So the administration is recommending going with ISG as the firm to perform the district's facility study. They have extensive experience in K-12 facilities, including renovation of aging buildings, consolidation of schools, and new construction. So a broad range of experience working with K-12. Their proposed price was $15,000, and it was the second lowest price or proposal that we had received. And that price also includes an educational adequacy assessment. So they would look at our class sizes of students, the room sizes, the fees from an educational standpoint, and look at that. So not just the brick and mortar of the building itself, but actually from an educational aspect of it, and how it relates to the facilities that we have. And they also have the ability to complete the facility assessment in-house with professionals who have many years of experience and numerous projects under their belt. So they are not subcontracting out the work. Members and I had reviewed them. So if anybody has any comments or if anyone has questions.
Can you refresh our memory on what the not to exceed target we were trying to stay below was? Was that 55?
I think we had set
50,000.
50,000.
50,000.
Yep.
So it's well below.
Yes.
So I'm assuming the $4,600 one, there was something missing in the proposal.
So the proposal from the $4,600 one, the firm did not attend the mandatory walkthrough that we had scheduled. And so just due to the integrity of the process, if we said that it is mandatory and they didn't attend. That said, they did come last Thursday morning and do a walkthrough of those facilities with Pete. So they have seen the facilities, they know what they're bidding on, but because I set the process as mandatory, I don't feel comfortable recommending against my own process. And so that's why I would be recommending this instead of the $4,600 one. That said, they're a very qualified firm. They also have a lot of experience, and they work with an engineering firm that we have worked with previously. They designed the tennis courts and the track facilities that we did. So.
I'm one of the board members who did review all 8 of these policies or proposals, and yeah, it was like after a while, all of them were, I mean, they all were qualified, like you said. And then, you know, we were looking, we had capped it that we would go $50,000 at the max, and to be honest, when I saw the $4,600 one, I was a little concerned that that was a typo.
I confirmed it wasn't.
Yeah, but it was actually that, because they knew that they'd be losing money, but it was kind of to get us aware of them and all that. But I do agree with Anne Marie that we have to stand firm with what we gave to everybody to do. It, you know, after a while, you kind of lose your integrity with other companies that you're dealing with if you don't follow through on that. So I'm fine with going with ISG then on this.
Anne Marie, where is ISG located?
So in Wisconsin, they have offices in Green Bay, La Crosse, and Milwaukee.
Okay.
They are quite heavily located in Iowa and Minnesota. They've done a lot more projects over there related to.
Any other questions? If not, I'll look for, sorry.
Did they give you their excuse why they just?
I'm not sure that they were aware of it in time to make the walkthrough.
Oh, okay.
That was the impression I got.
Okay. Thank you.
If there are no further questions, we'll look for a motion for approval to hire ISG.
I move to hire ISG to do our facility study.
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to hire ISG for the district facility study. Need a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 All right. And you're up again.
Yep.
She asked for September off. Because October's busy too.
Okay, so now we're talking about life and disability insurances. So currently, the district has different carriers for life, long-term, and short-term disability insurances. So for life insurance, we have Epic. Long-term disability insurance is NIS, which is National Insurance Services, and short-term disability insurance is with the Hartford. So last fall, we were notified that Epic would no longer be in the life insurance market. So we needed to find a new life insurance carrier as of this coming October 1st. So working with M3, we decided that it could be beneficial to have all 3 insurances with the same carrier. So some of the reasons for that would be a smoother transition from short-term to long-term disability insurance for employees. Also easier to work with one company rather than 3 because you know the people that you're working with instead of having to work with 3 different companies. And potentially better rates if we were bringing all of our business to one carrier. And this wasn't the first time that we had discussed doing this, but with Epic leaving the life insurance market, this was the good time to
Look at them.
go out to bid for that. So we obtained rates from carriers for all 3 of those insurances with the intent to select one company that would be able to provide all 3 for us. So only 2 companies were able to offer the same level of long-term disability benefit that we currently provide for our employees. And those 2 were NIS and the Standard. So currently we provide a benefit of 90%. for our long-term disability, and which is a very nice benefit to provide. But because what I learned throughout this process is apparent, the two that we were looking at, and these are the two that most districts then in the state work with, at least in terms of long-term disability insurance. Because that's a normal thing for school districts. It's not a super rich benefit, that's pretty normal. So the district pays for base life insurance, which is one-time salary, and then we also pay for the long-term disability insurance. Employees have the option to purchase additional life insurance for themselves, as well as life insurance for a spouse or a child. And then employees also have the option to purchase the short-term disability insurance. So we offer that to our employees, but it's up to them if they want to have that benefit. So these are the rates, so showing the current rate, what we pay, and then the quotes from NIS and the quotes from the standard. So currently, for our active employees, well, actually for our active employees and our retirees, the life insurance rate is the same. And then if you look at NIS and the standard, you'll see that there's a lower cost for that they would have for the active employees. And then higher costs for retirees. So NIS has an age-rated schedule for the retiree piece, which basically means the older you get, the higher that premium becomes. But other than, I believe we have 7 administrators that we do pay the life insurance for. The rest of the retirees pay their own districts. That standard, the standard has lower rates for the active. The accidental death and dismemberment, or the AD&D benefit, is the same, actually, from current versus NIS and the standard. And what that would be is if somebody died accidentally, whether it was a car accident or somebody got murdered. Dismemberment piece is if you lost a limb or some other body part, there's a benefit depending on what you lose for that as well. So the life insurance ended up being better with the standard. The long-term disability, so our current was 38 cents. NIS proposed 36.8 cents. The standard, and since then, we've been able to get that down to 31.7 cents. So the LTD with the standard was a better rate too. And then the short-term disability, there's a whole rate schedule for that as well. It gets adjusted every 5 years of age. So rather than do that, I will summarize that by saying that for the standard compared to NIS, the standard's rates for every age group were between 0 to 2 cents lower than NIS. So the standard was at least as good, if not slightly better, for all age groups than NIS. And the standard compared to our current was between 3 and 10 cents lower for every age group. So, and remember that our employees opt to purchase their own short-term disability, but what that means is that they will see better rates this year than what they've been having if we go to the standard. So in addition to its rates, the standard also provides a comprehensive employee assistance program. So if employees are having this can be if they're having some like financial difficulties or if they're having some emotional or mental issues. There is a line that they can call to get some assistance with providing resources to get help. We have an EAP with our current provider, NIS. It's tied to your long-term disability insurance. So we currently have an EAP, but the standard is known to have a very comprehensive, a little more robust one. And then they also have something they call workplace possibilities, which can help employees return to work faster. So in certain situations, they might be able to provide something to an employee that allows them to return to work. So if somebody is out because they have, like they broke their leg or something, they might be able to provide them like one of those carts so that they could come back and be able to work. And so M3 can provide much better examples of how that works, but they've been able to help employees go back to work sooner than expected by just providing some additional help for them. So, so that would be a benefit too. So based on that, we are recommending that the board would approve the standard as the carrier for its life insurance, long-term disability insurance, and short-term disability insurance. And then this would all take effect October 1 of 2022. Any questions? Sorry.
I just have a question, Anne Marie, in regard to the life insurance. That was the one area for sure that we were having difficulty because of Epic saying that they were no longer going to cover that.
Yeah.
So the people who are currently on a life insurance policy, or, you know, with Epic, will they go to the standard then?
So any of our active employees, like it's that one, the one group of retirees that we're still trying to figure out that with that paid up life insurance that we're still working with Epic. We do not.
If it's standard, are we taking a big dive on this, or is it, I guess I didn't understand that.
Yep, that stays, it's the same coverage as
Is what we currently have?
Yep.
Gotcha. And that was a one-time, the salary, is that what that was
Yeah, the
referring to?
one-time salary for life insurance is what we currently have as well, and then with the option to purchase additional.
Understood.
And I don't recall, Anne Marie, if you did, but can you just touch on a little bit of the age-rated schedule for NAS and how that compares with the standards kind of set rate for the life insurance? The retiree,
I mean,
standard?
obviously, depending
Right.
on your age.
Right.
But
it
that.
quickly got higher
It
than
did, exponentially, like it.
the standards
it-
flat.
That's a great question. And I honestly, as far as that, as far as the long-term disability goes, I don't know exactly why school districts or school employees are considered high risk, because it seems as though there would be riskier occupations. So I'm not entirely sure, but most companies will only do that 60% benefits instead of the 90 that we would be looking for. And so according to M3, those are actually the only two companies registered with OCI who can provide that. But I don't know the details of why it's high risk
All right.
for district employees. I understand the 60 versus 90 piece. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? If not, I would look for a motion.
I move the board approve the standard as the carrier for its life insurance, long-term disability insurance, and short-term disability insurance.
Just yesterday.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago, I think. Okay, 11 weeks in, I'm here to tell you what I know. What is going on here? Why is it flipping like that?
Stay committed to
Okay. Okay. So hello. So tonight I'm here to review some special education and student services data for the end of year report, which I'll ask you to approve as you have done in years past as well. So in regards to special education alone, we started serving 495 students at the start of last school year, ended with serving 409 evaluation in special education, as well as the initial evaluations. It does not include 3-year re-evals that may have been waived or speech evaluations, while as maybe comprehensive or time-consuming, they still are taxing on our special education teachers. The 175 evaluations is just a slight increase from the previous year by about 10. So we've remained pretty stable over the past couple of years. Also, an important highlight would be to mention that This year, we get the opportunity to reflect on all of our evaluations that we did, because it is those 175 comprehensive evaluation students who were involved in those. Those names get reported to DPI. We will do that this Wednesday, actually, and then DPI gives us back a pool, a sample pool of those students that we then have to review all of their IEPs and evaluations, because it's our self-assessment year. So we will begin that process of reviewing those on August 16th. We have a team of staff members who will be looking at those very finely. This will go throughout the year, so I'll be giving you updates. But it's going to be a great opportunity for some reflection and growth, I would say. Additionally, in addition to just providing the end of year report, every year I will need to provide you with our seclusion and restraint data. So that is what I will be doing next. As you look at some of these numbers regarding our seclusion and restraints last year, I want to let you know that this week we have planned training with our trained this week as well on proper techniques for seclusion and restraint. So all new staff members will have that training. Okay. So as earlier about those comprehensive evaluations, this slide also includes other evaluations that are conducted by our school psych, social workers, and our school counselors, also including our 504 evaluations. Oftentimes, if a student doesn't qualify for special education with a disability, they may very well qualify for a 504 plan, because they may need some accommodations to help them in the school or classroom setting. Another highlight from this slide that I'm pretty excited to tell you about is that school social workers, some administrators, and I have met with 3 of our agency partners regarding mental health services. So if you're not aware, we have been working with SSM Health. You might refer to them or know them better as Dallin Associates. Church Health Services, and Dodge County Open Doors. So we're excited that we've had an opportunity to meet with them already this summer, because we're gearing up to maximize our productivity of that referral process to make sure that we're serving all students, making sure that they receive the services. It's really convenient for parents oftentimes, if they qualify for some of these counseling services, to get it right there in the school buildings. So as far as Church Health Services, they have allotted a minimum of 2 hours per building, but already they have plans to be serving some students that extend beyond that 2 hours. So it's going to be a great partnership to continue with. In addition, this year we're also going to be providing AODA counseling services in the middle school and the high school, so by Church Health Services. And it's difficult to find qualified AODA therapists, so I think this is, as you look at the things that I was a little struck by is the students with chronic health concerns, problems, asthma is included in there, ADHD can be included in there, as well as several other mental health conditions. So while that might seem high to you, that number also has remained stable throughout the past 5 years. Oh, we're at the end already, unless you have any questions for me. But I would ask that you just approve this end of year report, as well as the seclusion and restraint data that I need to report out each year.
I got a question about the AODA.
Yes.
That's going to be offered to our middle schoolers and high schoolers. Is that upon request by either the student or the family, or is that something that is like a program that every student
Right.
I guess goes to a presentation or how?
So I've started meeting with the administrators to design exactly how we're going to deliver those services. To start the year, we're going to allot 3 hours a week at the high school and 1 hour a week at the middle school, and have those AODA counselors in the commons, getting to know students, having conversations with them, having conversations just to develop those relationships. There have been already a number of students identified that either their parents or the students themselves have said, hey, my kiddo struggles with AODA, and this is something new this year that we can provide, the AODA counselor can provide a consultation or an assessment on them, and in consultation with the parents and the student and the counselors, that would be the next step. But I do know that there were already students maybe identified last year that would probably be good candidates where those conversations can start right away with the families.
Okay.
I'm guessing over the last couple of years, overall, health services probably, and visits have probably gone up. I know individually you said some things stayed about the same, but I mean, if you just look at your COVID case management,
Yes.
I mean, that by itself, right, probably didn't exist before 2 years
Correct.
ago.
Correct. So the chronic health conditions, all those other things remained relatively stable. My understanding from Kristen Chico is that we have a very good ongoing relationship, and that's a pretty seamless service that is provided in our schools. Also, we do have a relationship with a medical advisor, which I think, based on some of my previous experiences, isn't always the case. So I think we're fortunate to have that opportunity to communicate with a medical advisor in the field whenever certain issues come up or we need specific guidance.
Excellent. Thank you.
Other questions? If not, I would look for an approving on your executive summary.
I move for approval of the Special Education and Pupil Services End of the Year Report for the 2021-2022 school year, which includes health services and seclusion and restraint data.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve the Special Education and Pupil Services Report as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right, thank you very much. All right, that moves us on to reports by the Board of Education, starting with 10.1 operations.
Operations did not meet, so I do not have a report.
And I believe we meet again in September.
In September, yeah.
Teaching and learning,
Teaching and learning also did not meet, and once again, back to our schedule in September.
all right, and then any other board engagement or engagement opportunities the board would like to share out?
Gary and I attended the new teacher breakfast this morning. It was a great gathering and a lot of energy, a lot of excitement to start the year.
How many new teachers?
Dr. White, how many new teachers?
Well, if we're including transfers, north of 50.
All right, nice. Well, thank you both for attending that this morning. Appreciate it. Anything else? All right, we're going to move on then to 10.5, annual data and performance plan. So we did have a workshop here on the, gotta get it right here, July 18th, in which we started out talking about some strategic actions coming out of our strategic plan. So Jesse gave a update on the strategic actions out of that strategic plan. So if you remember, there's a total of 8 of those. So Jesse went through all 8 of those and gave an update on those district strategic actions. Then moved into some specific data on attendance and trends, academic achievement, graduation and financials, engagement and satisfaction, And then ended with some conversation on the family survey, where we looked at basically areas from the 2021 survey that had the largest gap in what parents valued compared to how they perceived our performance. So there were some sections in there where we saw some closing of the gap, and also some sections in there which we saw some widening of the gap. So we also are going to get an update. Actually, not an update. We're going to find out in August here next week the strategic actions moving forward for the next school year and the school success plans that will come out of the continued work off of our strategic plan. I didn't want to use that. You're right, special education service delivery model and specific goals for continued forward movement. Number one, obviously, making sure that our procedures and policies are consistent with state model policies and procedures. Continued focus on standard-based IEPs, continued training on EduClimber so that the staff can effectively and efficiently progress monitor the IEP goals, continued attention. Tiffany went through each of the levels, elementary, middle, and high school, and then also our alternative sites to provide a summary of basically where we are today and then where we are going. And then we will see a recommend those reports at the July 18th workshop. Appreciate it, especially at day 11. All right. With that, we'll move on to general recognitions. Anybody from the board have any recognitions they'd like to share out?
I actually want to share out just recognizing the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation Educational Fund. This was the first year, the first school year, that the Educational Fund, part of the BDACF, was able to award money to teachers and programs that were not covered under our regular education things. Like the Educational Fund gave 12,000 celebration team, a high school garden. Lincoln had an inclusive playground equipment that they wanted and were able to get. And it's just an outgrowth of the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation, which has done a lot in the short term that they've been in existence in this community. And right now we're, I think Rob might have some information as going forward for this next coming school year on that foundation, or on the fund that we're looking for. And so I want to recognize them, and if anybody wants to contribute to the fund, please do so. It's easy enough to do. You go to the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation website. There's an area for being a donor. If you're involved with a business and a business wants to contribute, the money goes for good cause. And we were able to give some of these things that the teachers in their classrooms wouldn't otherwise be able to have.
Nice, thank you. Any other recognitions? Mark?
I've got three. I'll be brief. I know we talked about it a little bit, but our new teachers kicked off their careers here in Beaver Dam this morning, so want to thank them, and then also want to thank the buddies that were there, kind of their building support go-to people, and then also the mentors who are going to be working with them closely, and of course thank Nicole and Rob and all the administrators for the work that they do to support all those folks. So a very exciting time. Also wanted to recognize and thank the Nelson and Vera Hicks Foundation for their $500 donation to our PALS program. It's always wonderful, very, very giving foundation in our community. And then our school, Beaver Dam High School, received again, the WIA Excellence Award. So for those of you who recall that award really recognizes process and a commitment to training, and then character and integrity from our student athletes and our coaches in our program. So obviously, traditional leadership there has contributed very positively to that, but also obviously want to also thank our coaches and our student athletes in particular for continuing to represent our community very well, something that our whole community can be proud of. And just an interesting point of reference, so there's over, I don't know the exact number, when I was a high school principal I did, but I believe it's around, I don't know how many of them are WIA members, but we'll say conservatively 420 on the low end, so, okay? And then interestingly enough, on that list of 39, 6 of those are Badger Conference schools. So when we talk about the quality of our conference, we talk about competition, both on the court and in the classroom, quite frankly. And then we also talk about just it's pretty fortunate that 6 of those 39 are part of the Badger Conference. So something else I wanted to point out.
Right. And year after year.
Year after year.
All right, anybody else? Last chance.
Well, I have just one more thing. It's not really a recognition. It's just unless somebody wants to do it. We were notified that our Region 10 WASB will be having an election for our representative to the school board convention. John was there and they elected someone last year, but I'm assuming this person resigned or something because they, at the next fall regional meeting, which is October 20th at the Dells, they want to have the election for this person. So if anybody here wants to be nominated to take the position of being the Region 10 WASB member, you can see me and I'll tell you how you can do it.
All right. Thank you, Marge.
I nominate Marge.
No, you're not.
If anybody's interested, let Marge know, but do not understood. All right, anybody else? All right.
I move that the board recess into closed session per Wisconsin statute 19.85, paren run and paren C, concerning employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically to discuss specific employees, employee groups, and negotiation strategy.
All
Second.
right, we have a motion and a second to move into closed session. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 All right, sounds good. We will be right back. Right back, Mark? Oh, we're staying here? No, we're going somewhere? We're gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah. I think it starts tomorrow.
All right, we got everybody, and we've reconvened into open session, so we'll move forward with district policy and guidelines. 13.1 resignations.
All right, there are some resignations on your agenda for your consideration this evening.
I move the board approve the resignations as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the resignations as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign.
There are 2 leaves of absence on the agenda for tonight.
I move the board approve the leaves of absence as presented.
Motion and a second to approve the leaves of absence is presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign.
All right, I have 12 appointments for you tonight. I'm going to go through the limited term employment agreements first. That would be Austin Barton as a full-time substitute teacher at the middle school. Madison Jansen, English language learner teacher for middle school. Alejandro Martinez, English language learner teacher for the high school. Nicole Voigt, full-time substitute teacher for the district.
I move the board approve the limited term employment employees as presented. And then I move the board approve the full-time employment employees that remain as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the appointments as presented. We need a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nicole, don't run away.
Yeah, you've got questions, and
I
I've
know.
got answers.
How many do you have left?
We have 6.
6 left. Okay,
6
that's
certified
good.
left. So we need early childhood teacher, which I am prepared to make an offer tomorrow. We need special education and English language arts at the middle school. We need special education and math at the high school. And we need a psychologist.
Okay.
So we're doing okay. We're doing great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that moves us to 13.4. We have Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, model forms and policies and procedures, annual adoption.
Yes. So as you recall, last month, I presented you with an overview of the special education service delivery models that we have been employing in the district. It was recommended at that time that we just adopt the state model for our policies and procedures. That's in your packet. Every year, it's our obligation to propose that to you for approval. Do you have any questions for me regarding any of that?
I mean, I think you covered everything
Okay.
in the presentation. If there are no further questions, I'd look for a motion to adopt. Should be in the executive.
I move the Bearden Unified School District to adopt the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction Special Education Model Forms and Procedures Manual as its guide and commitment to practice and service of specific education students for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt, thank you, Marge, adopt the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction Special Education Model Forms and Policies. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those not, same sign. All right. Thank you. That brings us to Board Policy 5722.
All right, Board Policy 5722 has to do with school-sponsored publications and productions. There was a recommended revision and toolkit that we be advised to use through Neola, as you guys know, is our policy provider and advisor. So a team of administrators met to review this toolkit, current practice, and make recommendations for this policy. Rob Meyer led this and participated with other administrators, educators, coaches, advisors, and other stakeholders in our school district. And at this point in time, you have a copy of that. This is first reading only. And yeah, I would encourage you to reach out. It's relatively comprehensive. It's an important policy. They all are. But there's a couple things with the school-sponsored publications and productions that we want to be really clear on. And I'm pleased with the work that they did at this point. So go ahead and review that. And if you have any questions between now and our next meeting, which will be the second reading, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me. I'd be happy to walk you through that. And then just a quick note, reminder that our Neola, what would we call that, facilitator, or what would we dub that term, representative, Rich Zeman, I say Zeman, but it's Zeman, did retire. So our new representative started for this whole area, by the way, so probably represents 60-some school districts, give or take, is starting with all of us, late summer, early fall. So Mary and I do have on our schedule the fall reading and review policies, and you can expect in September or October at the latest to have a first reading on the fall slate of policy updates. That's it.
All right. With that, we'll move on to other business and payment of claims.
I move for payment of claims in the amount of $4,997,925.98.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of payment of claims. Roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 All right, thank you. Otherwise, we will look for a motion for adjournment.
Also move.
A second.
Motion and a second for adjournment.